President names deputy ministers designate. Police soup on criminals. Den. NAP 32 in Kaswa. Back page, 7,000 children start malaria vaccination in German South. And Minister hands over farm facilities to communities.
And weeks after Evans Mensah's wonderful interview with Kweku Bonsam, who called for...
Yeah.
That was an epic interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said you wasted his fufu, but that's a
Yeah, the fufu was getting cold.
Yeah. the Daily Guide is reporting this morning the Agrada story, and it says that over Sika Gari, so she said that your money will turn into plenty stuff. TV has been shut down too. Court discharges Obinim. So as Agrada is going, Obinim is coming out. The spiritual front is becoming a bit turbulent recently. Anyway, and the teacher kills money lender. 39 deputy ministers drop, and Ikwapim Polo gets 80,000 bail, and that happened yesterday. So the people are saying that Agrada in, Ikwapim out. Yeah, it's still a very interesting field.
It seems there's a lot of swinging, revolving doors at the prisons. She's still in, by the way. They are seeking to settle the terms of the bail.
Yeah, 80,000.
So they moved her from Ankafo to Nsawam, according to some sources.
I pray her friends who started the Free Polo campaign will just put in money to make it happen. Yeah.
Well, according to some sources, she's now been moved to Nsawam, pending her release.
Okay, let's get to the new crusading guide. And Nungwa Chief of Staff said to 2020 National Best Farmer, NDC snaps EC boycotts APAC meeting on 2020 general elections. Ghana must generate more energy. That's Matthew Poku Prempe. Yes, you heard right. He's talking about the need to generate more energy, but this time around it should be take and pay, not take or pay. And Akufo-Addo appoints 41 deputy ministers. The new crusading guide says,
What a
I thought it was
difference a
39.
word makes, huh?
You know that barely 2 or 3 years ago, we're saying we have Essex, we are wasting money on it, and that we needed to get rid of it some way, somehow.
We actually got rid of one, and we have to pay a judgment debt for it.
Okay, now the Chronicle is reporting this morning, Nigerian suspects, not jailbreakers. So there's a family who was saying that they are coming to Ghana for honeymoon. They just got married, but they were added to the jailbreakers, and they are made to look like they ought to be in jail too. So
How many?
these are two,
Two,
like
okay.
a man and the wife.
Okay.
So they are very worried about being added to that list. They said they just boarded the car to come to Ghana, and apparently the rest were jailbreakers, and that's what the argument. Yes. Oh yeah, they said that the honeymoon they chose a location. They can't even give you the hotel receipts, and that's on the front page.
No, but even that raises questions, right? Because the borders are closed.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so whether you're a couple or not, you just can't come in here through the land borders and come and have a holiday because the borders are closed. So
Exactly.
they came in illegally.
Yeah.
They came in illegally, so they definitely must be.
Just that they are worried about the title jailbreakers,
okay.
yeah, because I mean clearly from
So,
where
so they broke our borders.
yeah.
But this is the thing, right? So they got into a vehicle that said, we're going to take you to Ghana, even though the borders are closed. They
Yeah.
paid
Yeah.
for this ride.
In
and
fact-
then the vehicle drove all the way to the border with the intention of crossing.
In
Was
fact,
was it the driver's first day at work? Or have people been crossing?
Anyway,
In fact, are we going to go into details later?
yes, later. Okay, thank you so much. And police arrest Fantamoja. Sammy, later, right? Yeah. Thank you. And police arrest Fantamoja over Opekuma murder, and there's also one about
Fantamoja.
not the one you know. No, this one is in bracket. There's another.
Okay, I thought it was the Fantamoja.
He's a kingpin. He's one great robber in
I see.
Opekuma. He's been arrested
I
finally.
heard Santa Muga. I was quite
no,
concerned.
it would have been.
Okay, good. Thank goodness.
It came to mind too anyway.
Yeah, how can, anyway.
and okay, now there's a new friendly departmental store at Kolebu, and this is supposed to be helping the poor. That's on the front page of the Chronicle too.
Well, the Business and Financial Times says pandemic drives down petroleum revenues by 31%. Carbon tax could hasten industry's transition to renewables, according to expert. And economy comes out of recession, grows by 3.3% in fourth quarter, and recruit only licensed teachers from next month or be sanctioned, private schools told. Finally, the Daily Statement says NCA moves to shut down 49 TV stations. President nominates 39 deputy ministers, 10 women make the list. And more fireworks in NDC as Adekoka tags Kumbo as what? Serial caller.
All right. So a bunch of deputy ministers been nominated. Some interesting names, some non-surprising names as well. I wonder what your thoughts are. I'll start with Ray.
So
Which name would you say was the most surprising?
okay, so I won't say surprising, but I was disappointed in Tina Mensah's what they call it, reappointment.
Who?
Tina Mensah.
Okay.
I'm wondering in what universe is Tina Mensah reappointed, then Okoboy dropped. You can tell me that perhaps Tina Mensah is back to Parliament and Okoboy is not. But we all know that we are still in the pandemic. Not for a second did I hear Tina Mensah say anything meaningful about this particular situation we find ourselves. And let me go back to the point. The thinking in the minds of those who conceived of statecraft, the likes of Plato, about who is qualified to be a minister or a philosopher, the people who draft states, especially for a developing country, you need the best of your resource. If you are recruiting for a private firm called Ghana, and you put Okoboy and Tina Mensah on the table for you to choose from, all things being equal, which one will be your best choice?
Yeah,
it is the
I've seen
same
it.
decision that when people give
Historical.
power to people in positions like that, the expectation is that they will act in their best interest. How is the state paying Tina Mensah as a deputy minister in the best interest of this country? And if you look at the list, just use the same standard and see beyond the partisan considerations, which is not how we appoint people or how we give power to people, because it is the ultimate development of the people that matter. If you tell me that the position of deputy minister is a useless position, I agree that some of the names ought to still be there. But if we still fail 3 or 2, because clearly, I mean, every single ministry has directors who are competent in the various departments that you are going to put deputy ministers are. I am so convinced.
In the universe of politics, it is a loyaltytocracy and not a meritocracy.
That is the problem I have.
Loyaltocracy. I love that
Loyaltocracy.
word.
Not a meritocracy. And so, the bottom line, you're right. If you're looking at competence,
Yeah.
right? I mean, nobody can make that argument. I mean, and again, it's true. But however, I think and yesterday on PMSS we highlighted at the elections that just gone by, and the president's estimation, and again, just using the Tina Mensah versus his competence was lacking in delivering votes, and so he lost his seat. If you've lost your seat, that anybody who lost your seat in the last elections, you
That's
aren't
true.
coming back.
Yeah.
And Okoboy was just a victim of that. I mean, Okoboy lost with the slimmest of margins, but he lost nonetheless. Tina Mensah, you say, I mean, you raise questions of competence, but she was competent in giving the president votes, and she's been rewarded for that. It's really what it is.
Exactly. Yes, Kojo, you're going to ask a
I
question.
was just going to ask you to be the casting vote on this one.
Oh, no, but I think that, look, to be very honest, yes, we may all of us do agree that Okoboy is very competent, but the truth also is that the president has not appointed anybody who lost his parliamentary primaries or even lost the parliamentary seat in the election. I mean, it's like the president telling you, look, if you go into the elections and you lose, you won't come back because your laws has actually created the hung parliament that we have now. Okay, and so please stay there. Don't come back.
Yeah.
And
Then
yes.
give me a minute, because there's a point on this I want us to explore. So does this mean that within the subset of successful winners of seats and competent people, there weren't any people for the president to choose from to fill that all-important position of deputy health minister during a pandemic?
Okay, so I get your point. Your point is that, okay, so among the field of those who actually succeeded,
Let's
and
put
went to
Okoboy
Parliament.
aside, assuming
Yeah.
that this rule must apply in our loyaltocracy,
Yeah.
that he can't come back. Then of those who remain, of those who won and are deserving of ministerial appointments, was there nobody?
I must say I'll stay where I started, because again, so there's one of the key attributes of, I mean, elements of the loyalty question is, okay, so you're so loyal to me, you helped me with votes for yourself and for myself, right? And so the president won by slimmest of margins, what, 50,000, 500,000, what,
500,000.
500,000 votes. I mean, you're looking at Tina Mensah's contribution to that. He's appreciating that, right? So that's one bit. But the second bit of it is so among the field of those who went to Parliament, I've worked with her in the deputy ministerial capacity for what, 4 years?
4 years.
I've known her. She may not be doing what Raymond is talking about, publicly showing any signs of actually delivering.
But perhaps she's very competent in the behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, as far as the president is concerned, and the president trusts her, right? I mean, and the president believes that This is somebody that I can work with. And she's loyal to me to a fault. And listen, the president is one of those people. I don't know who, any politician in Ghana who you could put above when it comes to loyalty. I mean, he's loyal to. He believes that to a fault.
Values loyalty
To a
above
fault.
so much
So
else.
many- yes.
You're right about.
I mean,
that.
so and,
You're
and
right
I
about
believe
that.
that
Yeah.
is probably what it will be. So maybe the other people who just came in or who won, maybe possibly more competent. But then that question of so personally, which of these guys do I trust?
But there's a certain thinking, I don't know if you guys will agree, but what we're discussing here when we talk about ministerial appointments is people being chosen to manage state resources in the interest of the people. If it becomes a reward system, does it mean that we are all, including the appointing authority, the president, looking at this wrong? Are we all considering these positions to be private or party property to be distributed as rewards rather than what they actually are, which is positions of vital importance in which you must manage state resources on behalf of the people to the very best of your ability?
Well, because one of the things you must realize also is that we have a few things that would actually tell the president to ensure regional balance. He needs to also ensure gender parity. So when you look at all of these things, if you're a president, you ask yourself, how many members of parliament do I have? How many persons do I have coming from this region or the other region? All of them would play in such a role that it gets to a point, and particularly when you have a female deputy minister in a certain area. Evans makes the point. Look, outwardly we may be assessing her and saying, well, we haven't heard much from her. We think that her handling of the strike actions and the picketing wasn't the strike. I mean, and the picketing wasn't the best. But to the president, he thinks she did well, and she's a member of parliament for Weja Bawi. One of the things we must recognize also is that sometimes even the constituency which you represent matters. I've had conversations about, if you go to Ho Central, for instance, that there's never been a minister from the Ho Central constituency. And so that's a seat that the NDC wins consistently. And so whoever becomes, MP under an NDC administration, they're planning to lobby to ensure that that person gets a ministerial appointment. So once the president has that prerogative to choose who he wants to work with, and mind you, the technocrats will do a lot of the work, the ministers will provide political leadership. You can't fault the president when he says, I want to work with this person.
You go to the fisheries minister, I see the question, right? I mean, everybody's wondering, how did she still get a ministerial position? But again, stretch it further. Even the many NDC members of parliament agree with the president. When it came down to a vote,
Indeed.
When it came down to a vote, she got the most votes out of the lot, Kojo Ponkrumah and the rest. And so that really is what it is.
Now, there's a point worth making. Let's also be fair to the president. It's not all about loyalty. My attention is actually being drawn to something I knew about before. That there is at least one ministry, which I'd rather not mention at this point, where the president deferred to his minister when it came to who the deputies should be. He asked the minister, who do you think will assist you in your very sensitive position? And he mentioned
actually, the constitution says should be in consultation with the
in this case, he deferred to him. He said, look, who will work for you? And he mentioned two names who were not people known to the president. He didn't know them personally. There were other names being given to the president, but he went with the two names that the minister suggested. So it is, yes, I mean, loyalty is a huge factor, but there are these exceptions, times when the president, depending on the position, he will defer to the minister. We're going to talk more about this, and of course, the drama about filling the Rawlings void in the NDC. That's all to come. Right now, though, the BBC, brought to us by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
I nearly gave up on driving out of frustration. What hadn't I done? Purging, replacing electrical parts, changing my fuel pump, and still, the engine noise in my car won't stop. Then I met this guy who said I should try Goil Fuel. By the way, my name is Thomas.